going today? I have decided to work on a little bit of hip mobility and some shoulder mobility just to kind of bring a little bit of lightness into our joints and just to see how we feel a little bit before and after. So sometimes you can feel pretty tight and just kind of everything feels like it's just coming in, contracting. And sometimes if we can just get in our bodies for a minute and just move some of the tissues and release some of the joints, we can start feeling a lot lighter in a short amount of time. So the best way to know this is to experience it. So today I'm just going to take us through some simple movements with a strap. So if you have a strap or a long towel or scarf or something, we can use the strap. I'm gonna just hold it above my head right now, or around my neck right now. I'm gonna come to it in a little bit. But first, I think we will start with some gliding movements through the joints. So I'm gonna start by taking my feet about 4 feet wide, feeling my legs get a little bit heavier. Right? So bending through the knees, feeling some of that weight dropping down into the feet. And just starting with some simple movement, pressing down, feeling the knees bend, feeling the weight go into the feet. And something I like to notice is where the weight is dropping in my feet. So maybe you feel it in the inner heels, or if you drop into the outer heels, you might feel your ankles dropping on the inside or the outside. So as you feel these things, just taking some observations, right? So feeling how the weight drops into the feet. And once we let it drop again, see if we can balance. So if you feel it dropping into the inner heels, see if you can spread the weight out into your outer heels. I just did that and I felt some toning in my outer hips, so interesting, right? And then lift the toes off the ground some, and that creates a bigger arch. And so feeling some energy move up the shins. Lengthen the toes back down, and let's just straighten the legs. And just going in and out for a minute. So noticing how our feet receive the weight of our body can give a little bit of insight into how our hips shift and maneuver in order to balance our weight for us. Our body's pretty intelligent that way. So I'm just rocking a little bit side to side, shifting the weight from one foot to the other, and just moving around in my joints. Okay, so after this, I'm going to start rotating my hip joints. So I'm going to take my left leg and just spin my heel a little bit. And as I spin my heel, I see my pelvis starting to turn. My thigh is rolling. So feeling that thigh bone just kind of turning in and out of the socket. So I'm going to turn that foot externally rotating. Feel the thigh externally rotating. And notice that my right hip has dropped a little bit. So I'm going to pull that hip up so it's level again. I'll feel the weight distributed back into my right leg here. And then I'm going to glide in and out. So just gliding in and out. Weight is dropping into my left leg. So I'm just noticing where the weight goes when I move myself off of center. Okay, so this is more just like a big exploration, heightening the awareness of the body. Okay, so as my knee goes forward, I'm noticing that it's going past my ankle. So as I lift this hip up, feel the weight press back here. Try to glide forward, let my knee go right over the ankle, and trying to keep my spine in line with my tailbone, my spine, the crown of my head. And then straightening back up. So another thing I notice when I go forward this way, my knee wants to cave in, and that has to do with a lot of the tightness in my hips. So I'm going to draw my knee back so it's more in line with my second toe, and try to feel my outer glute, my buttocks muscle here, engaging as I press into my outer left heel. So draw the knee back, feel my buttocks, my glute kind of coiling forward as this knee goes back. Pressing into my outer heel a little bit more so I can make contact with that outer hip, and just lengthening the toes. So that was a lot of information. I'm going to go ahead and straighten it back up. Okay, and just gliding forward and back. Feel the hips trying to stay level. And just noticing if that happens with you. Typically, if we get really tight, just feel how that knee wants to come in. Just keep drawing it back, even if you don't go as far. Okay, and then coming forward. And let's spin the foot back around. Wobble the hips a little bit. And then we'll turn the other direction. So I'm going to take this right leg now and just spin it open. Right? Feeling how you pivot. My hips are going with me. So this side, my hip is more open. I've got very different hips. This one's much tighter than the other one. So I can already feel a looseness, and a little pop too. Okay, again lifting that hip, that front hip level with the back hip, and then just starting to go forward and back some. So I glide much easier on this side. See if you can notice in your body if one side glides easier than the other. Okay, it's just for future reference. Remember, this is not any kind of judgment upon your body. It's just information. Okay? Now I notice on this side my knee doesn't cave forward as much, so that's telling me more information about how my muscles are expressing themselves on each side of my body when I move in the day. However, I'm having a hard time connecting with this back hip because it is a lot looser. So I'm going to have to press into my outer heel a little bit more and move this knee back, and really trying to invite that back glute muscle, that buttocks muscle, to hug in and under, really pulling it forward as this knee goes back. Okay, taking a few breaths, and then straightening back up. I'll lift the front hip, I'll feel the weight go into this leg. So both feet are anchored, right? This back leg is nice and straight. And I'm just going to glide in a little bit, press into that outer heel, feel my buttocks engage, getting nice and tall. And then coming back out, I'll spin those toes back in, and then just tick-tock the feet back together, noticing how you have a little more movement in your hips. So that's nice, a little rotation. So let's step back out one time, about 4 feet again. And I'm going to lift my toes up, feel my thighs hugging back into the bones as I drop my sitting bones down just a little bit. So letting that weight drop into the heels. Really feeling these thigh muscles engage. And from there, I'll bend the knees, get my chest nice and long. So I got this in the way. And then stretch the legs forward. Stretch the legs long, and then bending going down. And then press into the heels and lengthen, and then come down. This time I'm going to glide my hands onto the outer knees, press well into my heels, push into my outer knees, allowing them to push back into my hands, and you'll feel your sitting bones widen, and starting to lift and straighten. And then one more time, press into the outer knees, lengthening. Right, feel your lower back moving into its natural curve. A few breaths here. And then just slowly letting yourself come back up. All right, I'm going to tick-tock my feet back in and find my strap. So letting your strap be as wide as you comfortably can get it without letting your elbows bend when we go back and forth. So I'm just going to lift my arms up and back. And noticing if you kind of have to wiggle, then maybe use a longer strap. And get yourself a little longer so that you can move forward and back. So we're just using the strap to create some resistance between the arms, but still being able to get full rotation of movement in the shoulders. And just breathing, inhaling. Whenever you feel tension, try to exhale through that tension. Right, use a nice deep breath. And by pressing the hands outward, you're creating a little more space inside that socket where the arm bone moves into that socket. So getting a little more space, and a little more freedom of movement. And then I'm going to use my hands. I'm going to move with this right arm Then pull the left arm close to my ear. Try to turn my outer arm towards my face, opening up the side of my neck. And trying to keep the weight centered in my heels with my legs firm. By lifting my toes, I can get that action, pressing my thighs back. And then I can put my toes back down. And just breathe a few times. Keep wrapping that outer arm towards your face a little so that you feel this area releasing. If your arm were to turn out, you can feel how it kind of bunches up. And then we'll let it come down. Let's switch sides. I'm going to wrap that outer arm in, feeling the shoulder blade lengthen down my back. Trying to keep my heels pressing down, my thighs moving back. And just a few breaths there. And then letting the arms come back into neutral, a few shoulder shrugs. You might notice some release there. And then the last one, I'm going to take my strap. I'm going to shorten mine a little bit, but again, depending on how tight you are in the front of your chest, you might need it a little wider. And I'm just going to bring it behind me, right on the outsides of my wrists, and press my arms up and back as I root into my heels, right? Root into the heels, send the thighs back, and drop the sitting bones down. And then just opening up the front of the chest by pressing out into the strap and lifting the arms up. You can take your chin slightly in and down some. Just letting that tension release from your chest and your shoulders. And give it a break. And then maybe one more time. Nice and firm in the legs so you can lift up through the chest. And then bending and straightening. There you go. Try to relax your jaw. Keep breathing through your nose. And then letting it go. And then last but not least, I'm just going to let my arms and legs sway. Just trying to sway out some of that tension. And then I might take my left hand and gently move my left ear towards that shoulder. Just let that arm move a little bit. Press the head back up with your hand. And then other side, gentle, gentle stretch on the left side of the neck as the right ear goes down. And then just soft movement in that arm. Press the head back up. All right, shake it out a little bit. It's always good to shake. Shake, 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 shake. And then swing. So I'm just swinging through my torso real quick. Not real quick, but just free flowing. Let my hips, kind of like that dance all the kids are doing, which I think is now out of style. Things happen so quickly. And then I'm going to invite my legs to join in. So I'm going to take my heels up as I twist. Just letting it all go. Okay. Again, shake it out. Right. Pedal out your toes like you're a horse prancing, so let the heels come up and down. Okay. And there you go. You can lie down on the ground and take a little 2 or 3 minute shavasana if you'd like. It's always a nice thing to do if you have time. But just noticing how your body feels after just letting some tension go. And I hope that this video has been helpful. As always, you can leave me some comments, requests, questions in the comment section. And you can always check more out at mysticlotusyoga.com. We're doing live streaming classes, and we do have some full videos to check out on our website. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.